What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday, TGIF. It's Chris, the Dice degen on Casino Gaming TV, bringing you the daily wager for today. Was it April 21st? Hope everyone's having a great Friday. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about modeling, all right? And I'm going to almost backtrack a little bit pertaining to what I talked about yesterday. I got a couple DMs and a couple questions. So I'm going to go back a little bit and we're going to dive more into kind of the why you model and what it's useful for. And then I'm going to explain the model that I walked through yesterday a little bit further. And I'm going to show you a quicker way to do it if you want to do it that way. All right. So I don't really have any slides today to talk through because they're the same as yesterday. So I'm just going to explain a little bit more about the modeling and why you do it and kind of go from there. So what's going on, Fuzzy? Hope your day is going well. And just so everybody knows, picks will be posted in Discord again after the show this afternoon. Sometime they'll be posted. Waiting for a couple lineups for some soccer games this afternoon. But been doing a little bit better with the picks recently. Obviously, started out the month good. Had a bit of a downswing there. We were down as much as like almost 12, 13 units. And then now we're back to right around 7 units down. So not where we want to be, but we're climbing back in the right direction. So that is a positive. And looking to get positive for the month of April. Potentially coming this weekend. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the picks this weekend. All right. But again, like I said, picks will be posted later today. This afternoon. So, modeling. All right. Modeling. All right. We're going to talk about modeling and why we do it. So, the main thing with a model is that you are looking for something to create to be able to help you better make picks. All right. And it's usually more reliable than just going off of whatever you see, or some call it the eye test. Or going off whatever your gut instinct is, things along those lines. The modeling can give you a statistical, numerical value for whatever you're betting on. So that's why people make models. Now, the thing with models, and I got a couple questions yesterday as to why I was even doing what I was doing yesterday. Just because it's a relatively simple model to make on the spot. It's not super complicated, and I didn't want to get into a very complicated model right off the bat. All right, so the reason why I did what I did yesterday was, one, it's simple, and two, people like overs and unders in baseball. All right, now I told you yesterday that model that I was making is not very accurate long term because you're going solely based off of the average runs per game for the two teams. Will it hit? Sometimes, yeah. Will it not hit? Yes. All right, so that's why I was saying yesterday that model wasn't very accurate, and I got a couple questions and DMs asking me, like, why would I even show something that's not going to be accurate? Well, I was trying to give you the basis behind what the model would look like, and I told you once you start adding statistical tests in there and refining the model a little bit, then you could use it into something and turn it into something that would be worthy of betting on. The issue with getting to that point is you need to have the data in the model before you can actually run any statistical test. So that's why I was showing you what I showed you yesterday. All right, it's not because I wanted to show you a losing model. It's not because I wanted to show you, how not to model. It's you need the data in the spreadsheet that you're going to use in order to be able to actually model anything and have any significance associated with the model. So I'm going to go back to that model a little bit today. I'm going to explain it further, and then on Monday, I'll actually get into adding some statistical tests to it. I'm not going to do it today because I think there's too many questions about the model itself. So on Monday, I'll go into some of the statistical tests that you can add into the model. So today, we're just going to dive more into what I was doing and then also where you can find this information. I told you yesterday where you could find it, but got a couple questions on it. So I'm going to flip my screen here and go over to this page. All right, so this is baseballreference.com, okay? And like I told you yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today, all right, your model and whatever you want to base your model off of is solely dependent on what you want to look at specifically, all right? You can make one large model with basic subsets in the model, but you're still looking at a small variety of things. So you're going to pick what stat is important to you and what relates to what you're betting on. All right. So yesterday I was talking about totals and run totals and overs and unders. The easiest stat to use for that is how many runs a team is averaging per game. That's why I used the average runs per game stat in the basic model. Again, I told you yesterday it's a very, very basic model. It's not going to be a very complex model. If you want to get better results with that model, you would have to build in plate appearances, how many hits they're getting per game, what their RBIs might look like, what the home run stats might look like. You're also going to have to factor in the other pitcher to see what they are doing and how they are performing. If you have a team with a high average run per game, but they have a high average run because they put up 10 runs a game for 3 straight games against a pitcher who can't pitch, well, it's going to skew your results a little bit. That's why I was saying that model is going to be very, very basic for that reason. All right, but to the website. All right, so this is baseballreference.com. Again, profootballreference.com. They have one for basketball. They have one for hockey. I think that's it. They may have it for another sport, but this website I like a lot. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I like it a lot because they give you all of the main stats you would need, and it's free. All right, you don't have to pay for it, which makes it super nice. All right, that's why I was using this. Now, I'm going to switch over to here to the model that I made yesterday. All right, that I made pretty quickly yesterday. And I got a couple questions that why do I care, what the scores so far are, all that kind of stuff. Well, theoretically speaking, it doesn't matter in this instance, okay? You only care about the average runs per game that the team's putting up, so we could make a much simpler model. The reason I did this was because it had all the matchups, it had the scores, so you could have some background information and things like that. But the thing that is important with the scores and these creating the margin, which is how much the home team won by or lost by, is because we're going to use that in the linear regression that I was going to do today, but now I'm going to do it on Monday. All right. That's why I have that in there. It's not because I care what the score was all that much. It's because you need that for the linear regression. So that's why that's in there. You can make it much simpler. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that if you want to just base your stats and your model off of average runs per game. All right, I'm going to show you that right now. Here's what it looks like very quickly because I already built it out. All right, but I'm going to show you how to build out this exact thing on the screen right now, and it'll spit out the exact average runs per game, and you can use that if you want to look at just average runs and bet totals off that. Like I said, it's not going to be very accurate. It's not going to be factoring in anything other than average runs per game. That's what you're basing that off of. All right, so if you are new to Google Sheets or Excel, this may be useful for just learning how to use it a little bit better. And if you're looking to build a model, obviously now we're getting into the data collection part. All right, I told you there was multiple steps to building a model. Data collection was one of the first steps, so that's what we did yesterday. But I just wanted to go over it a little bit more because I think there was a lot of questions about it, and I may have flown through it. And if you guys do have questions, please feel free to put them in chat or DM me or anything like that. I don't know if I explained it well yesterday. I tried to, but again, I've been doing modeling on this kind of stuff for a while now, so I may have glanced over something. So if there's something that's unclear, just feel free to ask. All right, no question is stupid, so just feel free to ask. All right, but if you want to go and do this with this average runs per game and just get what the average run is and then compare that to what the totals are, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. All right, so I'm going to add a new sheet. And like I said, I already did this, but I'm going to do it again. All right, so now we'll come up here and we'll put the home team. No, me type in home team. And apologies if you can hear some banging and stuff in the background. I have a bathroom that is being ripped out upstairs. So I tried to move the mic and direction and point the mic in the right direction so you can't hear it, but if you can, sorry. Away team. All right, and then we're going to come down here and we'll put in average runs per game. And then we'll put here the total. Total average runs per game, and my typing is to be desired today, so just bear with me. All right, so what you can do here is we pulled this in yesterday, if you remember, right? The average runs per game for each of the teams, all right? And that was directly taken from Baseball Reference, where I was just at, and I'm going to do it again right now, all right? So I need sheet 5 will be the main sheet that I'm running this off of, and I'm going to add sheet 6 in here just so I can copy and paste these stats in here. All right, so we're going to go to Baseball Reference, and we're just going to copy and paste these stats in. And if it wants to copy properly. There we go. We got it. All right. So we'll just Control-C or Command-C if you're on a Mac. All right, and we'll copy and paste this in here. It's going to take a sec because there's quite a bit of data that's coming into it. But, all right, now you have all of the stats put in. And if you want the column headers, you can put them in there. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a column in front of here. All right, and what I'm going to do is call this one team, and then I'm going to go over to column D and call this one the average runs per game, because that's what we care about, right? The rest of the columns don't matter, but if you wanted to, you can just do this, and then you don't even have to worry about formatting it like I did yesterday. I got rid of some of the columns yesterday. You don't have to if you just want to copy and paste, because again, I told you you're going to need to update this as each game is played, so your average runs update. All right, but what we're going to do here is to make it look a little prettier and make it look a little bit better, we're going to go on column B2. All right, and we're going to go up here to data, and we're going to go to data validation. All right. Now, there's a couple ways you could do this. This is the cleanest way, I think, and the prettiest way of sorts if you want to go there, because we're going to create a list. And the list will allow you to have a drop-down menu, and you can just pick the team. And then I'll show you again the VLOOKUP, so you can just get the average runs when you click to a new team. Okay? And I think the list is pretty if you want. If you don't want the list, you can manually type in all the team names or copy and paste them, whatever you want to do, and then just cross-reference. But I think this looks the best, and it looks a little bit easier. So we're going to come over here to add rule. And what we're going to do is we're going to create this drop-down. All right, so it's already there. And we're going to go drop down from a range, though. All right, because if you create the drop down, you're going to have to type in each team manually. It's going to take you time. You can do it that way. I don't like to waste my time doing that stuff, so I'm not going to do it because we already have the teams on this sheet, if you remember, right? All the teams are here. So we have them listed already, so why bother to type them in? So we're going to come in here. All right, and we're going to go to this range section, and we're going to select a data range. So we're going to go back to this sheet. They can be on different sheets. They don't have to be on the same sheet. And we're going to highlight all these team names. All right, and we're going to hit OK. And now, if we go back to sheet 5, where this model is, right? If you go on this drop-down menu, now you can see all the teams are in there. All right, so that's how you create a list for anything in Sheets Excel's very similar. I'm just using Sheets because it's a little bit easier and a little bit easier to share. So that's how you do it, right? So now I can pick, whatever team I want. And we can make this a little bit bigger so everything populates in there so you can see who the team is. I'll make the away team bigger because we're going to do the same thing for the away team. All right. Now what you can do is you can just copy and paste this over to here, but I'm going to show you how to do it again. All right. So we're going to click in this cell and we're going to go data validation, and we're going to go again, drop down from arrange, and it's already populating in there what sheet we're going to because we just did it. All right, but again, if you need to add a new rule, you can. All right, but we're going to click done there, and we're going to go new rule, and now it's in this one. All right, so we're going to go drop down from arrange, and we're going to pick the same range. All right, so I'm going to make sure the data range is selected. We're going to come up here and we're going to click and drag again, all right, to go to the same range. And we'll click OK. And we'll go back to sheet 5. And now you'll see that you have the same drop-down list in here. So let's say the Mets are playing the Braves. Well, you can just pick that matchup. All right, now you're going to tell me, well, it's not showing the average runs per game. We didn't get there yet. All right, we didn't get there yet. We're going to get there right now. You don't need this anymore, so we're going to close this out. All right, but your list is here. Now, I'm going to say this before I get into the runs. If you mess with this sheet here and you start changing this stuff around, you're going to mess up the list. All right, so if I start playing around with these team names and changing them and doing whatever, you're going to mess up the list. Okay? Just telling you that off the bat. All right, so now we're going to go back to where we were. And here's what we're going to do. All right, so I showed you the VLOOKUP yesterday for finding the average runs per game. We're going to do it again. So we're going to type in equals VLOOKUP, and you can click on this. And the first thing that we're looking for in the VLOOKUP, the first portion of it, is what we want to search and who we want to search for. All right, so who we want to search is going to be this column here, this B2. That's who we want to search. We want to search for whatever team that we want to put in the home spot. Okay? Next, we're going to hit a comma. And now the next portion of this formula is going to be where are we looking for it? So which sheet are we looking for this information on? So that's going to be sheet 6, right? Because we just pulled in all this information here. And what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of this sheet. Now, you don't have to highlight the whole thing. You can highlight some of it. You can highlight, but I'm just going to pull all of it in for now. And let's go down, make sure we got everything. All right. And what we're going to do now is we're going to come in here and we're going to add a comma. All right. So now the next portion of this is going to be where in this sheet are we looking for that information. So the first thing is who we're looking for. The second thing is where we're looking. And then the third thing now is going to be more specifically, where are we looking? And it's going to be that column number that we're looking in. So if you look, the average runs per game are in column D. Now you can't put a number or you can't put a letter in here, so it's going to have to be a number. So D is the 4th column, so I'm going to put a 4 in here. And what we're going to do is now anytime we pick a team in that cell on the other sheet, B2, this formula is going to look on this sheet in column 4 for that specific team here and spit out this number in column 4. All right. And then in order to close this, we're going to type in false at the end because if that team is not there, it's going to show up false. We'll hit enter. And now if you look, right, the New York Mets, since we selected them, their average run per game is 4.85. If we go back to this sheet over here and we go down to the Mets, right, the Mets are right here. Boom, their average runs are 4.85. Now, you might ask me, why are you going to do that? Why not just look at these numbers? You could do that, but this is going to be a little bit quicker for a little bit of time put in up front. It's going to be quicker to figure this out down the line. Okay? Now, for this one, right, we want to know the Braves, for example. Well, it's the same formula, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to copy and paste the formula over here. And now it's not going to be exactly the same because we're looking for a different team. We're not looking for the Mets. We're not looking for the home team. We're looking for the away team. So what we have to do is change B2 to C2. All right. And when we change B2 to C2, we hit enter. Now you see that 5.11 is going to come up in here, which is going to be the Braves average runs per game, which is right here. So Braves average runs per game, 5.11. All right. Now we're going to go over to this sheet again. And if you want to, see what these combined are, we're just going to type in equals sum, or you could do the sum of those two, or you can just do this plus this and hit enter. All right. And it's going to give you what the total is. Now, why did we do this? Well, you could look through all the information by hand and write it down and put it in a calculator and figure it out. But now, all you got to do is, if we want to change it to maybe the Orioles, see, it automatically changes for us. If we want to go to the Braves, let's say, and change them to the Red Sox, now it changes for us automatically. Everything changes with this drop-down list. Okay? And the total average runs per game, there you go. Now, what you can do is you can compare that to the sports book. But remember, like I said yesterday, that this is a very, very elementary level model of what you're looking for. And like I said, we want to build in the linear regression and build in some other statistical analysis pieces in here. But I wanted to go over this again just so we can really dive down into it so you guys understand what I'm putting in here. And again, this is for MLB team totals. All right. And I'm going to say what's up to some people since I'll be taking a second to drink my coffee. I said what's up to Fuzzy. Anthony, what's going on, boss? SJ, how are you? All right. So hopefully that makes some sense to you guys now. And if it made sense yesterday, great. If not, well, hopefully this little bit of a refresher made some sense. Monday we'll go into more of the statistical tests that you can run and things like that. But what do you do with this information now, right? Again, be cautious with this because this is not a foolproof model. All right, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to pull up the lines for the sports book. All right, I could pull them up on my computer so you guys can see them. Let's go over to FanDuel. We'll go over to FanDuel, and we shall pick baseball. So we're going to go to MLB. When it wants to load. Always when I'm sharing, I feel like everything takes forever when I'm sharing. It just wants to take its grand old time. All right. So here's the lines for today, all right, as of right now. So the Dodgers and the Cubs have an over-under of 9.5. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to our spreadsheet here, and we're going to look for the teams, all right, and where they what their average runs per game are. Now, does the home team necessarily matter in this one? Not necessarily, because we just have average runs per game. We're not necessarily looking at who's at home and who's in away in this model. Again, I told you it's very elementary level. But I can tell you the Cubs are home, all right, because on the sports book, depending on the sports book, but on FanDuel, the second team listed here is going to be home because it's going to be the Dodgers at the Cubs. All right, so that's going to tell you who's at home and who's at away. But we'll go back here, and we got the Cubs going in here. So the Cubs team total is here, right? And now we want the Dodgers team total. Okay? So now you're adding these two team totals together, and your total average runs so far this season between these two teams has been around 10.86. And you can see the line here is around 9.5. Is that enough to bet on? Like I said, no, there's not enough information built into the model, but it can give you an understanding on a baseline level of what we're looking at and how we can start making decisions, right? So if you're here and you see 10.86 and the actual line is going to be 9.5, well, if you had this more built out, that might be worthy of a bet on that game because this total here is higher by 1.3 runs than the actual total of the game. Now, again, this is just going off average runs, so that's not what I would actually use to make a bet. If you wanted to, you could, but like I said, long term, this is not going to be something that's going to be profitable. All right? So that is kind of how we can start building the model, though. And that's why all of this was built in yesterday, where we have the team, the score, all that kind of stuff. Because now, on Monday, we're going to use a statistical test to start giving us numbers that are actually closer to what we would be able to make a betting decision on. If you want to make a betting decision on just average runs, you can. I'm going to tell you, be careful because you will probably lose more than you will win. It's not enough information. All right? But it's a start. And again, data collection is super important. So I know there's quite a few of you watching now. So if you guys have any questions about that specific stuff, drop them in chat. Please let me know. And if not, I'm going to talk a little bit more about a few other things. But if you guys have questions about that, drop it in chat and let me know. If you guys missed yesterday's show, well, I would go back and look at yesterday's show to see how we, made all of this. It's not very complicated. It just does take a little bit of time to do it. And the thing with models are that they seem very, very good. I will tell you, as someone who's built out a multitude of models, they're time intensive, okay? And we went over it yesterday, and John asked about scrapers and automating the information coming into the model. You can do that. Like I said yesterday, I'm not good enough at coding to be able to code a scraper to get into the model, so I do a lot of my my manual entry, which is not ideal, and I don't want to pay for a scraper. But I'm actually working on coding one, so it's taking me a bit of time because I have to learn how to code it, but it's kind of cool. So you have questions, but you need to watch yesterday's show without working. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, and if you have questions, always feel free to put them in Discord or you can DM me. And like I said, between yesterday and today, right, this model, very, very elementary, okay? It's more or less... this is the data gathering portion, right? If I come back here and I go to the slides from yesterday, because I didn't change them, because I'm lazy. Where is it, right? So when you're making the model, right, you have to choose the goal. So in making this model, my goal is to model overs and unders in baseball, right? I am not modeling how many hits a player is going to get. All right. The goal with this model is for overs and unders for games. You could build in like team total overs and unders, but the main gist of the model here is overs and unders. Nothing about strikeouts. Not worrying about who's going to win the game. I'm just worrying about how many runs will be in the game. So that's my goal. My goal is how many runs, and I want to build something that's going to tell me how many runs are in the game. Then my metrics in this model, right? I'm keeping it easy, so I'm basing it off of the average runs per game that team has scored. The data collection portion is where we get into this here, right? This whole model that's up on the screen now. That's the data collection, okay? And then the model type is going to be what the statistical test that we're using is, or what we want to actually model. So we want to model the overs and unders and runs, and you can use a linear regression. There's a couple other ones. You can use a Poisson distribution. There's a couple other ones that you could use. The linear regression is going to be the easiest one, so that's what I'm going to use for it. And I'll show you guys that on Monday again with the linear regression. Maybe on Tuesday I'll do a Poisson distribution. The Poisson distribution is a lot harder to actually build in to the model. There's a lot more work that goes into building that one. The linear regression is pretty easy, especially with Excel and with Google Sheets. They basically do it for you as long as you pick the right variable, so the independent and dependent variable. There's a data pack. I'll show it to you right now. So if you're interested in the linear regression thing, and I see chat, I see the questions, I will get to them in a second. For Monday, right? If you want to, have this ready to go and you want to model it alongside of me or whatever, what you're going to want to do is you're going to go into, I'm clicking on the wrong screen. You're going to want to go into extensions here and get this Excel or XL Miner analysis tool pack. Okay. How you get that is you go into add-ons and you hit get add-ons. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. And you're going to hit get add-ons and it's going to load. My allergies are killing me. Sorry. My contacts are going all over the place. And you're going to type in XL Miner and there it is. So you click on that and it's this one here. And there's a button that'll come up. You click on it and you say that you want to install it. I already have it installed, so I don't need to install it, but this button will say install instead of uninstall. All right. And then same thing on Excel. On Excel, you go to, let me pull it up. I don't have Excel on this computer. That's why I don't really use Excel. But I do have it on the computer that's next to me. On Excel, let's see here. Sorry, you get to see the side of my head. And if you see, I have my computer, monitor, and then I have another computer and another monitor. Different stuff. There's usually some kind of sports going on one of the two of them, if not both of them. And then there's another monitor over there that sometimes has sports on it. And then there's a TV back there that has sports on it as well. So to get the that data pack on Excel, you're going to go to File, and you're going to go to More, and you're going to go to, I think it's Options. Yeah, Options, and you're going to go to Add-ins. And I can't show you this screen because I don't have it connected to this computer, but you're going to go to Add-ins, and then when you go to Add-ins, you can it's called the Analysis Tool Pack. So it's called the same thing. So it's Analysis Tool Pack, and you can grab it there. And you'll have it. All right. So there you go. That's how you get that. And we're going to go over that on Monday. We'll build in some stuff, and we'll make it cool. All right. Let me look at chat. Let me look at chat now because I saw a couple questions. Do you or anyone use the parlays in the banner of FanDuel or any other sports book, or are hop hard raising crafts? I'd be very careful using the suggested parlays they give you. Usually the odds are boosted on them and they rarely hit. All right. Some of them seem like slam dunks and they don't hit. So you can use them. I have used them before. But just be careful when you do use them. I've found that they hit less often than they do, win. They lose more than they win. Usually they're big plus money plays. So you only need to hit one out of every couple to actually be profitable. But I'd be careful using those. More often than not, they're put together by somebody who is a affiliate with the sports book, or they're like a influencer with the sports book. So if you look like Pat McAfee will have bets on FanDuel, a couple other people. Maybe one day they'll let me put bets on FanDuel. I don't know. That'd probably be bad though, because those would actually hit. I'll just pat myself on the back there. No, I'm kidding. They might not hit, but yeah, just be careful with those. Is all I'm gonna say. because sometimes they don't hit. I don't even know. Let me look at what FanDuel has right now. Do they have any? Oh, I have to log in to see what they have. Well, I guess under Boost maybe they'll show me what they have. Um, yeah, see, like here, right? Like even this one, I know it's not something that somebody else put together, but it's Brown, Mitchell, Brunson, Murray, all to score 20 points. It seems really like easy in theory, right? You got pretty much the top scorer for every team in theory. All right, Jaylen Brown might not be the top scorer. Tatum was probably the top scorer for the Celtics, but Jaylen Brown's second in scoring. Donovan Mitchell has been leading the scoring. Jalen Brunson's been either first or second in a lot of games, and then Jamal Murray did that. Jamal Murray put up 40 the other night, so look for a little downtrend there potentially. But see, they boost it from plus 115 to plus 200 to get you to bet on it. Uh, I'd be careful with those. Personally speaking, I usually am pretty careful with those because they are not really interested in hitting. So just be careful. What is this? Interested in sports betting, mobile betting? Yeah, California, terrible, 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 terrible. They need to allow sports betting. Um, yeah, see, this is the thing here, right? So you use some of these same game parlays that they put together, and the thing with them is, right? They're usually 4 or 5 or 6 legs. Okay, now they look like you want to pounce on it, right? Because it's like, how am I getting these odds for this bet? You're like, I need to get on this. The problem is, it's 5 or 6 picks. It's very, very hard to hit 5 or 6 picks consistently, right? Even if you move the lines all the way down, it's very hard to hit 5 and 6 on a consistent basis. So that's what, and again, you have to hit all 5 legs if you're doing a 5-teamer. So, yep, Arizona has sports betting now. That is cool. Yeah, exactly. They look super enticing, right? They make you, they just scream at you, I want to bet this. I want you to bet this. I want you to bet this. And then, right, I'll give you an example. During the playoffs, the NFL playoffs last year, they put one up. I'd have to go back through my history to find out exactly what it was, but it was like Jalen Hurts to throw for over 200 yards. Someone to score a touchdown, and like Sanders to rush for like 30 yards or more. And there was one other. It was when the Eagles were playing the Giants. It was like Saquon to rush for like um, you know, I don't even remember what it was. Let me turn my do not disturb on. I need do not disturb. Where are you? Because otherwise I see text popping up on the phone and they're going to come in. So that was the bet, right? And I thought the easiest part of that bet was going to be Hurts over 200 yards, right? His over under line was at like 250 something. You're moving the line 50 yards. I was like, this is a slam dunk. Jalen Hurts threw for like 150 yards that game. It happens. It is what it is. Would it be worth it to convert to a round robin? Yes and no. So, for those of you who don't know, a round robin is like when you take a parlay of, let's say it's 3 or 4 teams, and basically the round robin is you separate that 3-team parlay into separate parlays with just 2 legs, right? So let's say I wanted to take, let's say I was taking, let's say I'm going to use the one that's up on the screen right now, right? So let's say we're taking Jaylen Brown over 20 points, Mitchell over 20 points, and Brunson over 20 points, right? The round robin there would be Brown and Mitchell both to score 20, Brown and Brunson to score 20, and then Mitchell and Brunson to score 20. So you wouldn't be placing the 3, you'd be placing the 2 of them, right? Now, the thing why I'm saying is, would it be worth it to convert to a round robin is it depends what the line is, okay? If you're moving the line this much, like if I'm gonna pull up let me pull up the lines for you now. So that line there is gonna be plus 200 on those 4 guys to score that many. I need NBA. That's I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about the round robins. Because so if I go to get Jalen Brown or Jalen Brown's points to score 20 plus points, I assume that line's going to be you know in the I want to say in the 500s maybe minus five something. I was even generous minus 650, right? So that's minus 650, and then now if I go back to the NBA again. See, here's another one they have up here. Um, I'll get that one back in. There you go. So it's Brown, Murray, Brogdon, Tatum, Young, and Herter. That's a 6-teamer. You have to get all 6 of those to hit. That's what I'm saying. It's tough. So who was the? Oh, it was Mitchell was another one in that parlay. Here's where the round robin isn't great, but I'll show you how to build out a round robin. I'll do it while we're here. So see, Mitchell is minus 3,000 to score 20 points. Now, when you have the round robin, right, you have you're taking 2 plays, okay? And now your parlay is going to be minus 525. That's why the round robin doesn't work well on these bets because you're not winning enough. All right, so I just wanted to show you this for that reason alone. When you're combining these two, I mean, to place minus 520 on a parlay is absurd. I'm just saying. Let me pull the rest of these games in, and yeah, I know that's what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying. These ones again, 6 teams. It seems Brown to score 20, Murray to score 20, Brogdon only for 10, Tatum. Like all these things. It seems so easy, but all you need is one guy to let you down. Ask a female how many guys have let her down. You just need one. Anyway, we're not going to go there. The Nuggets. I got to pull who's from. Oh, is Murray for the Nuggets, I think. Sorry, this is taking a bit. My computer's being slow. I need Murray over 20 points. And this line's going to be absurd as well. I can tell you that right now. All right. Minus 250. So that's where your value is coming from there, right? And then the fourth person, it was Brunson. Knicks game later. And you can see the round robin options already popping up there. So I'll show you how to build that out in a second. All right, we need Brunson over 20 points. All right, so there you go. So now, right, you got the 4 legs. See, it's plus 111. They're offering you the plus 200 there. And now what you would do for a round robin here is you have the wagers in the game, in the 4 bets. You'd come down here to this round robin, and you click on that. And when you actually go to round robin it, right, here's what you have. So you'd be going by 3s with 2x, or by 3s with 2 times the wager. So what you'd be doing is, let's say you were putting $5 on each of those, right? You're really winning back nothing. So that's why I'm saying, because, right, you're combining these guys to score. The only real value there in this whole parlay is Murray. Otherwise, this parlay would be like minus 200 something. So adding Murray in there is what makes it plus. But round robining these is not a good idea because you're not going to win anything back. So that's why I'm saying that. All right. Yeah. Any other questions? Let me see, chat. Yeah, I mean, they might be. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing, right? So, you have something in there where it's like, you want to bet, you don't want to bet. It is what it is. But we all have a little degen in us, right? Take out Mitchell. Here you go. All right, now your parlay, your 3-leg parlay now pays out, plus 100. and now your wagers are minus 168. So even if you put $5 on it, you'd win back a total of $8 back with all those kind of bets. So, that's not a terrible option to do that if you wanted to do it. But again, when you're round robining, just like I said, be careful because if two of these, you can get away with one guy not hitting. But even if you get away with one guy not hitting with three players, you're still going to lose because you have Jaylen Brown and Murray, and then you have Jaylen Brown and Brunson, and then you have Murray and Brunson. If Murray doesn't put up the 20 points, you're losing the Murray and Brunson bet and the Murray and Brown bet, but you'd win the Brown and Brunson bet. So that's where the round robins, you have to be careful. If one of those guys doesn't hit, you're in some trouble. You're almost better off placing the three-teamer that all of them hit. You'll save yourself some cash in the long run if you're going to do it that way. All right. Any other questions or anything? It's almost 1 o'clock. Hopefully the modeling stuff made sense. Again, we'll go over some more modeling on Monday. We'll build in some stats to our models, and we'll get that going. No, we're not cutting the show yet. Not yet. Let's go back to this screen. There we go. We're not cutting the show yet, but if there's any questions, you can let me know. Yeah, the dolly's a good one. Not sports betting related. You can't dolly in sports. I guess you could. Technically speaking, I guess you could if you really wanted to. Don't ask me to try to do that though, because I don't even know where I'd start. I'd have to do something there. But yeah, the degen takes over sometimes. It really does. Is what it is. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in. So, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Again, picks will be in the Discord in a little bit. I'm waiting on lineups for soccer. So give me a few minutes. I'm waiting for those to come through. And then maybe some baseball plays. And then picks for, obviously, Saturday, Sunday. They'll be out. No show Saturday, Sunday. But picks will be out Monday. We'll go over the modeling and things like that. And then Monday night, if you're an NFL fan, Monday night, Ian and myself will be doing a draft show Monday night. Still finalizing the time, but that'll be Monday night, and we may have a special guest with us. All right, so if you missed any of the fantasy football content that Ian and I did last year, we're going to be doing that again, obviously, but we may have a special guest for draft night, so we're going to talk about it, but that'll be Monday. I'll talk about it more on Monday's show, but yeah, you can ask me how to figure it out. Now I'm going to go and sit in the lab and try to figure it out myself because I said I didn't even know where to start, and now the brain is churning. But hope you guys have a great Friday and a great weekend, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me in Discord, and I will talk to you guys all very, very soon. Have a good weekend. Peace out.